Good afternoon, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with our weekly update. Just a quick reminder, next Tuesday, March 5th, we do not have school. That is a teacher work day. It's election day, so the kids do not have school that day, right? Rest of the week is a normal week, just no school on Tuesday, right? For math, in Math 6 Plus, we just took our Unit 7.2 quiz. This was an introduction to proportional relationships. The big part of this was given a ratio, given a table, could students write an equation that matches that situation? They're still kind of struggling with making sure their equation actually matches the situation and makes sense. We're switching up variables. Sometimes we're switching up the constant of proportionality. Sometimes we're not going back to check, does my equation actually fit this scenario that I was given, right? So we finished that unit up today. We're going to go into another seventh grade unit. This is 7.4. This is going to be continuing with this idea of writing equations from ratios, but we're going to focus a little more on percentages now. Start talking about percentages and how we can write equations from those proportional relationships, right? In Math 6, we started talking about algebra today. Substitution, we were given expressions and we were given the value for the variable. We just had to plug it in and then follow order of operation to solve it. Going to continue that on Monday, and then we're going to start talking about using the distributive property to simplify expressions, and we're going to start multiplying variables and adding variables, which the kids get a little bit confused with. So we'll spend a lot of time next week working on that. All right, have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday.
Oh, proportional relationships. Just like when the Earth's crust is created at divergent boundaries, the Earth doesn't grow because of the proportional relationship with the amount of crust destroyed at convergent boundaries, which is indeed a connection between two different subjects. What we're going to do on Monday is we are going to finish off our plate tectonic unit by focusing on earthquakes. We'll be focusing on earthquakes on Monday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday. I'm thinking Wednesday might be the end. If not, Thursday. And then we're going to start into our next unit of soil. We're going to learn about what makes up soil. Students are going to realize that soil should not be called dirt in science class. We're going to talk about the different ingredients in soil. We're going to talk about how landforms and areas of climate affect soil. It's going to be the start of soil, and then we're going to be focusing on soil for the entire week following that. But we're going to start with earthquakes, end it off by building some earthquake buildings and putting them on a shake table. And then we're going to get into soil by the end of next week. Hopefully it's not cold this weekend or wet. I have soccer already. Crazy.
It's going to be wet, buddy. It's going to be wet. Okay, let's talk about language arts real quickly. So we are continuing to read the story Flush. We're about halfway finished with it, or getting close to halfway finished with it. So we're continuing to look at the rising action leading towards the climax of the story. We're also really focusing in using our workbook on some of who Carl Hiaasen, the author, is, and some of his perspectives based on his geographic location. Born and raised in Florida, what does that do for his perspective of the world? What does that do when he's writing fictional stories? So we're going to continue with that next week. Getting towards the end of Flush, then we will convert back into a little bit with World Without Fish, just a touch to do some activities about what we can do about the fact that there are not enough fish in the sea. Now, in social studies class, we're into our unit on economics, and we've done the kind of basic economics lessons that give us a review of what the different resources are, like capital resources and human resources and natural resources. We've talked about the different economic systems, like traditional economies and mixed economies and command economies. So we have the kind of basics of supply and demand understood. And now we're going to get into some historical trading networks. So we're starting in Mesopotamia. We started that a little bit today. Talked about what natural resources they're going to have and how they trade it and with whom they trade. Those kinds of things we're going to carry on as we talk a little bit about Mesopotamian trade. We're going to talk about the gold and salt trade in West Africa. We're going to talk about the Silk Road. Those are the places that we're going to talk historically with economics in the next probably 2 weeks. And then we're going to get into social structures after that and talk about how we historically rank people and treat people of different ranks. So that's where we're going in social studies. That's where we're going in language arts. Hopefully you have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next week.